Hey guys, Zom Fox here, and today we're going to be doing the USFL Week 10 betting picks for 2022 season. This week is going to be an interesting week because there are no playoffs at stakes. Every team is already in or out, but there still are games to be played. The Tank Bowl happens, and then the Stars and Generals are going to be meeting for the first of two back-to-back weeks. So without further ado, let's get started. The first game is going to be the Stars of the Generals. This is a big deal because they're meeting in the playoffs for the first round. So, for both coaches, it's the idea of what do you want to show, what do you not want to show. And also determining who you want to sit and who you don't want to sit. There's a good chance that a lot of these starters, Jamar Smith, Kyle Sloter, aren't going to play. And especially guys like the Generals, DeAndre Johnson, and the Stars, Case Cookus, who have both, Cookus to a lesser extent, but both have had injuries. And it's one of those, do you want to rest them for another week? Or do you want to play them to help see exactly what you can get an idea for in the next round or the next game? It's going to be a tough one to decide, but honestly, I feel there's a better chance that the Stars alone would sit Cookus just to make sure he's healthy for that matchup. Whereas the Generals, I feel like they know that at the end of the day, it's not a big deal to them. And this is one of the few teams in football in recent times, in even the NFL, where you can say it really doesn't matter if the quarterback goes down because the other one is just as capable. So I think the Generals are going to win this game by more than 2.5 points. And the over-under, I'm going to go with the under, solely because I feel like these defenses are going to be fully in-thrusted, whereas I think the offensive might have some guys rest or only play part of the game, which is just my thoughts on that one. The second game is going to be the Stallions at the Bandits. Man, this is definitely a hard one. This is one of the hard ones because the two hard ones are the ones where it legitimately doesn't matter what happens. The Bandits and the Stallions, this is one of those where it's hard to say exactly what you want to think. Because the Stallions are only 3.5 point favorites, which is mainly due to the fact that 1, they've played insanely ugly the last few weeks. 2, the Bandits have played pretty ugly as well. And it's just, you don't know who's going to play. I really do wonder if the Stallions are going to bench Jamar or not, because Jamar's had some pretty bad games, and going against a pretty mediocre Tampa Bay team might be one of the best things for them. So I feel like they might end up starting him, but I don't know for sure if I see them winning this. But the only reason I'm going to go against that is the fact that if the Stallions go into the playoffs, having lost their last 2 games, knowing that if you want to be as optimistic as possible, that their last 3 games they have played poor at best, that's not good if you're a Stallions player. So I feel like they're going to have to come out and win this game. They are going to win, and they are going to have more 3.5, and I'm going to go with the over. I think that Tamu is going to try and prove that he's not, this guy that, was a bust. Because I know his stats are, in the grand scheme of the USFL, look pretty good, but overall, when it's mattered most, he's failed. So I do think he's going to try his best to at least end the season on a high note. So I think that's going to be over. I think the Stallions win. I think the Stallions cover the spread. The third game is the one everyone cares about. The Panthers versus the Maulers. The inaugural USFL Tank Bowl. 2 teams that are 1-8, playing to see who will be the worst team in the first season. Panthers are 2.5 point favorites in this important game, and the over-under is 42.5. Man, I have no idea what to say about this. Ideally, Paxton is healthy. Ideally, they end up playing him just to, give him at least one more shot. The Maulers, I have no idea what they're going to do at quarterback, honestly. So, I feel, as a Panther fan, I want the Panthers to win because, I think, it'd be cool to at least win one more game this year. So, I do think the Panthers have a good shot as well. The Maulers they always seem to blow it somehow. Even when they keep games close, it's not like the Gamblers where you can at least say, man, they just got super unlucky or they made a couple of bad plays. The Maulers, they just play bad. I do think that the Maulers also are going to be suffering mainly from that quarterback problem. For how bad you can say the Panthers have been at quarterback, the Maulers have been insanely worse. The fact is, I don't know if there's any USFL fan who would rather have Vad Lee than Paxton Lynch, just because Vad had a good play to Bailey Gaither a few weeks ago, and that was it. So I'm going to go with the Panthers winning this. I think that their defense is better. I think that their offense is better. And, that's pretty much it. I think their coach is better. Their special teams is pretty comparable. So I'm going to go with the Panthers winning by more than 2.5. And I'm going to go, oh man, over-under is tough on this one. I mean, it really is. You're taking two teams that, this game, I will say this. It will either end with the score total being less than 20 or more than 60. I'm going to go with the over. That's my guess. Yeah. Tank Bowl, let's go. The last game of the week are the Breakers at the Gamblers. This one I'm really interested in only one regard, and that's in just the Gamblers just won a massive game, and the Breakers won a massive game, but for different reasons. The Gamblers were able to stave off an undefeated team. The Breakers clinched the playoffs. So, to me, it's the Gamblers. They're playing for pride. They win this game, they guarantee that they will not have a tied record for one of the two worst teams, which is something to play for. The Breakers are just pretty much playing this game to be ready for the playoffs. Overall, I've always been down on the Breakers, and I still believe the Breakers aren't that good. Overall, I think the Stars are better. I think the Stallions are better overall. I think that the Generals are definitely better. But I know that they're probably going to have a lot of players flood that all USFL team. I think that the Gamblers are going to win this, honestly. I think that their defense wants to get one last crack at saying, we are that team. The bottom line is, if I'm not joking, if the Gamblers were a playoff team, they legitimately might have the inaugural USFL MVP be Chris Odom. I'm not joking. He's been otherworldly for this team. And I feel like him, Payne, Abernathy, all their players, they want one more crack on that defense to show we are a legit unit. They may have given up some last-second touchdowns. They may have, not always been consistent, but their high-end players have been the reason their teams have been in games. I'm going to have them win this game so they cover the spread, and I'm going to say that they do it in an under. I think they're going to get one last shot at saying our defense is great, and that the Breakers are going to have their foot off the gas a bit, and they're going to let their guard down, and that their team is just not overall good enough to beat this team. That's how I feel. Overall, for my record last week, it wasn't the best. I think it was okay. I ended up going pretty much even on the spread and over-under. Went 2 for 2. And then my money line, I also went 2 for 2. I overall went 400. Mainly, I was perfect on, the Generals game, and all the other ones, I was hit and miss. So yeah, overall, this has been Zom Fox. If you enjoy this content and want to be notified as soon as I upload any videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And as always, have a great night.